get to move on the ground. Here we go. Moving on the ground, moving on the ground. Hey, where'd everybody go? Oh, there you are. I'ma get to move on the ground. Here we go. Moving on the ground, moving on the ground. Hey, where'd everybody go? Oh, there you are. I'ma get to move on the ground. Here we go. Moving on the ground, moving on the ground. Hey, where'd everybody go? Oh, there you are.
Mario!
Nintopics Podcast, all things Nintendo. Yeah!
welcome to the Nintopics Podcast. We are back. It's a brand new year.
So back.
It's
back
a
like we
brand
never
new
left.
season. What do you think? What do you guys think? Brand new season, brand new year. All right. Season 3. 1, 2, 3. Season 3 here with the great and beautiful Joycey J and Doctor of Nintendo, Paul Gale Network. We're here. How are you doing, guys?
Doing great.
Doing great. You guys ready for a new season?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Season 3 has begun, guys, and this is the year of the Nintendo Switch 2. Okay, and this is the year of that Nintendo. I always say Nintendo turns the page, because this year we will be hearing about a brand new Mario, maybe a brand new Zelda, maybe a brand new Splatoon, maybe a brand new Pokemon. We're gonna hear about new games this year, and it makes it so exciting that we're not only getting a new console, but brand new games. And so today, we got those topics for you. So I hope everybody in the chat is doing well. Thank you so much for being here. We have 26 beautiful people in the chat right now, and we appreciate every one of you. It is season 3 of the Nintopics Podcast with Paul Gale Network and Joycey J here. And I want to go ahead and kick it over to Joycey J to say a couple of things. How are you feeling? How has this year treated you so far? It is right now January 12 days into the year. And how are you feeling today?
We feeling good. Feeling good. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Felt like my headset was doing something weird. But now feeling good. Fortunately, not playing anything new right now. However, I am replaying.
Yeah.
Not speed running it, but I'm speeding through the story because I already know the story. But I'm replaying Triangle Strategy, always playing a little bit of Splatoon, and of course on my second very, very slow trip through Hyrule and Tears of the Kingdom as usual.
Mhm.
So yeah, we're just really kind of chilling. It was a really, really relaxing holiday for us. So we're doing good.
Awesome. And Paul Gale Network, how are you feeling? How are you doing? What you been playing?
Very good, thank you. It's been a good first couple of weeks of the new year.
Yeah.
Been using the time to do a lot of lightsaber battles in the backyard with my kids, since that's what I got them for Christmas.
That's awesome.
Good quality
Nice.
lightsabers, and for myself as well. And been playing some video games. We hopped back into Fortnite recently. The new racing mode is really good. The Lego Builder mode is quite a bit of fun, and then the regular game just continues to be solid Fortnite all around. Playing some Super Mario Bros. Wonder still, some Tetris 99, always kind of like my go-to. A little bit of Street Fighter 6, Pokemon Arceus for the first time in a while. So kind of a mix mash here and there of several titles, but yeah, it's been a good. Still on vacation too, so that's cool.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Lucky.
So same here. I mean, I started the year sick, which is not great. Never great. I was hospitalized twice, I think, because of the flu, and then after that, double pneumonia. So I was like in the hospital for the first few weeks of the year. I wasn't ready to start the year over. I'm like, you know what? No. Hit the reset button, because this is not how we start the year. But prior to that, been pretty good. Had a pretty good New Year's. Several days after, pretty good too. I'm very excited about the new season of the podcast. We have a guest every single month of the year, right? So January we have a guest, in February we have a guest. Every last Friday we're gonna have a guest on the podcast here. It's gonna be a combination of voice actors and also other content creators that are coming up, that are coming in and just spending some time with us talking everything Nintendo. I myself have took a little break from Nintendo Switch games because I think I've beaten almost everything, and I went over to PlayStation to play some games, and I've been wanting to play Spider-Man, right? The Spider-Man games started, and I started with Spider-Man 1, right? The remastered version on PlayStation 5. Fell in love with it. Proceeded to Miles Morales after that, like literally right after I finished. I went ahead and purchased Miles Morales, beat it, then went on to Spider-Man 2, and also got that one and beat that in the break time since the last time we spoke in the podcast. And so I wanted to go over those 3 games. I really, really, really like those games. I'm super hooked on all of them. Spider-Man 2 is insane. The stories are crazy. I'm waiting. I'm hoping they have DLC coming for Spider-Man 2 because it's fantastic. I heard that there were rumors that they were gonna get DLC, but let's see what happens with that. But yeah, that's what I did. I went outside of Nintendo to enjoy games outside of Nintendo because I have a PlayStation and I have an Xbox, and then I also played NBA 2K24 just because I'm a big Kobe fan. You know, he was my guy, and so I wanted to go ahead, and that game was dedicated to Kobe Bryant. So I went ahead and purchased that. Played through the entire season. Became a champion with the Lakers, you know, and basically that's what I've been doing, playing video games outside of Nintendo, and I'm ready to get back into it because this month we have another Code Red Collection coming out, right? It's a new game. Next month we have Mario versus Donkey Kong. Next month, not next year. Next month, Mario versus Donkey Kong. And in March, we have Princess Peach Showtime. So we have some cool games coming out, and we don't have anything else yet. So hopefully we'll get some information next month during hopefully that Nintendo Direct that is coming pretty soon around the corner. So today we want to talk about Switch 2. We got some topics to talk about. We got Switch 2 topics. We got the Legend of Zelda movie that, we got some updates in that are very exciting. They kind of hinted on what they're planning for the movie and what their train of thought is, right? Like what Miyamoto thinks about what they want to do, and the president of Sony, about the movie. And then if we have some time at the end of the podcast, we got some updates on Super Nintendo World that just came out as well with some crazy stuff that I actually did confirm behind the scenes because I have some friends. I live here in Orlando, guys. Am I frozen?
A little bit.
I froze a little bit. So I got some friends in Orlando here who are working in the construction of Epic Universe at Universal Studios. So I got some. I know what's happening behind the scenes here and there. So I can confirm some of these rumors are actually true, and which is very exciting for Super Nintendo World. All right, so let's start off with Nintendo Switch 2. Paul, do you remember some of the rumors that were stated for Nintendo Switch 2?
Well, there's been a lot in the first 12 days from like 3 or 4 different reports saying this is the power. No, this is the power. It's actually going to be here. No, it's actually going to be here. Oh, scrap that. The Taiwanese one, that's just from someone that I know, that I had communication with, is like, literally, I'm from Taiwan. What it said was it's being theorized that this is it. So that was like blown out of proportion on that one.
Yeah.
And then here's the release window. Oh, we think it is. And I have more to say on that, but like there's been a lot. It's it's a console year when it's like this. Although it's always like this. Fans are always hungry for the next thing.
I think we're just trying to guess to see what sticks,
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I think that the excitement is ever since that calendar changed to 2024. I think that the atmosphere just kind of hit a 180 and changed, and everybody's just on the edge, kind of like just waiting, expecting something very soon, right? Because there were also rumors that Nintendo was going to have an event in January. I doubted it, but I mean, I reported it, and then there's another rumor that there was going to be no Nintendo Direct, which is not true. There is going to be Nintendo Direct. Nintendo does have unfinished business still to go over, and so for this reason, they have to do a Direct because the Switch is not yet over, guys. Nintendo Switch is still getting games for the year and support. So the next Nintendo Direct will feature first thing the release date for Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. We don't have a release date for that. We don't have a release date for Luigi's Mansion HD, which is Dark Moon from the 3DS. And then there's other games that the Nintendo Switch is still other games that are still coming for Nintendo Switch. And so that's why we are still getting a Direct. It might be light, right, in games for the actual Nintendo Switch, and
as far as we know.
As far as we know, and more third-party games like Fantasy. Is it Fantasy Island? Is it a Fantasy something Fantasy something? The Girl Who Stole Time or something like that. That people are looking forward to. It's like a cozy little game like that. In other games, right? So Nintendo does have unfinished business to go over with the Nintendo Switch. It is not done yet. Not done. Nintendo Switch is still selling. And in that little spirit, let me go over to Paul Gale, because this guy has all the numbers for the latest Nintendo Switch sales, and they're exciting. They are exciting. So go ahead, Paul. What are the latest sales for the Nintendo Switch in its last year, by the way?
So we know the sales of the year in Japan. Like in Japan, in total for 2023, it did 4,062,000 units.
And this is in the year 2023.
Yeah,
4 million.
4 million in this last year, which now puts it at 31.78 million total. So it's like about a 1.1 million away from DS.
Wow.
And it's going to top DS. Like by June 30th, Nintendo Switch will top DS and become the #1 best-selling system of all time in Japan. It'll take a little longer before I think it tops DS worldwide, but it's very close in Japan, which is kind of wild.
That's crazy.
I mean, over the holiday break, it did 168,000 for the 2 weeks. And if you compare it to PlayStation, so like even when Sony wins US for the month, Nintendo's still winning Japan every month.
Yeah.
Nintendo Switch for the year did 4 million. PlayStation 5 did 2.5 million. Nintendo Switch for the holiday period did 168,000. PS5 did 81,000.
Wow.
In the top 30 best-selling games of the last 2 weeks in Japan for the holidays, 28 titles were Nintendo Switch, 2 titles were PlayStation 5. In the top 10, it was 9-1. So, like, Japan is a good response to anybody saying, "Oh, Nintendo needs to release new hardware. They have to. They're struggling." Japan says otherwise. Like, and that's why Nintendo is taking their time. Let's not rush it. We don't want to wait too long until nobody cares about the Switch ecosystem anymore. But why cannibalize our own sales by prematurely releasing a new console when the old one continues to do well? We'll find out how well it did in the United States for the year. But here's another interesting fact, and then I'll end my video game sales talk, because I could talk a whole podcast on sales.
Yeah, go ahead.
Nintendo Switch, even if it ended up being second place for the year in the world, in its 7th year, because don't forget, it's been out, not for 7 full years, but it's been out in its 7th calendar year, did better than half of Nintendo GameCube's entire lifetime sales.
What?
Did better because GameCube did 21.8 million, and Nintendo Switch did around 15 million worldwide. So oh no, Nintendo Switch is suffering in its last year. No, it did more than GameCube's half, and it did more than Wii U's entire. Now that's not saying much. Wii U did 13.8 million, but still, Nintendo Switch is such a powerful system that in its 7th calendar year, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, right? It did more than Wii U's entire. Like, it is not a struggling system.
That's crazy.
As much people want a new console now, it's really software. So if Nintendo keeps the software output high, they could last the whole 2024.
That's insane. And the thing is that I'm thinking about it. The more I think about it, the more I think that Nintendo, when it comes to from announcement to release, I don't think it's going to be that long of a wait, because thinking about those numbers, right? If they make it too long of a wait, then there's that big dip that's going to take in sales for the Switch. So I think they want to continue the momentum when it comes to sales. So from announcement to pre-order date, it might be maybe a month, 2 months, 3 months tops for the Nintendo Switch 2. And well, to go over the rumors when it comes to a release time period, right? Release time period. Some people, am I frozen again? I'll continue to talk as long as you can hear me.
Yeah. You come back every few minutes. It's okay.
So release time period. Some people are saying announcement in March, the end of March, right? And a release in the summer, which I am on board with that one. I think that the end of March, beginning of April, like the last week of March, first week of April, I think it's a perfect time to announce a Nintendo Switch 2, just because right ahead of it, we have all these conventions, all these places where Nintendo can focus on the games coming for Nintendo Switch, and then have those games be the sell point for the console. Console itself is not going to sell itself. Nintendo needs to show us that brand new open world Mario game that is going to wow everyone, right? They're going to have to show us whatever game they're launching. Mario Kart, right? Mario Kart looks like a big contender that could be a launch title for Nintendo Switch. So they have to show us those huge games that are coming with Nintendo Switch to the Switch 2 to push that console into the holiday season and just kind of blow it out of the park. So how do you guys feel about those release periods, and what do you guys think? Are they believable? Do you think that may be later in the month? I'm gonna throw it up to Joycey. What do you think?
What Paul said. I'll be very honest. I'm very, when it comes to all this kind of stuff, I admit I'm not good with hardware, software.
Yeah.
Does the game run? Does it look nice?
It looks nice. Yes, there you go. There you go.
That's my requirements.
Yeah,
the Switch runs and the games look nice.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was saying, right? They need to show you a game to sell you on the actual console to see how it runs, how it looks. Is it worth buying, or can you keep your Switch for a little bit longer? Because the Switch is still going to be, supported for the rest of the year until March of 2025. So,
but what I will say though is, I do believe, now I can put on my little business hat here.
Yeah, I
do believe that it is going to have to be somewhat impressive. Yeah, because in my opinion, Mario Wonder is just, I could just sit there and just stare and just pick out all the little things, all the little details. Same with Tears of the Kingdom. And Breath of the Wild. Yeah. Same with Splatoon, all these different games. I could just sit there and just pick out all the details. And I mean, it's little stuff in the corner they even think about. So for me, I'm happy. If they just kept the Switch and just kept releasing games, I'm happy. So you have to kind of prove to somebody like me why this is a boost, why this looks different. I can see where Switch looks different than Wii U, looks different than Wii. I can see that. But you have to prove to me that it, of course I'm gonna buy it anyway because I like Nintendo and blah blah blah. But prove to me why I'm giving you my money again for a similar system, which I believe is going to be similar, but I don't believe it's going to be the same. And I do think that we're going to get a boost in specs and everything, so we can have everything look all crispy and pretty and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, take it away. What do you think? Time frame.
Well, hold on. Time frame, I have that one locked in, but something about Joycey, if I could piggyback off of what she said.
Of course.
She said something that, that's why I'm still on Team 2024, but overall, it's about software, and Joycey kind of proved my point that a lot of people will operate like this.
Yeah.
If Nintendo, let's just make it up, right? They released a brand new, incredible Star Fox game this year. A brand new 3D Donkey Kong adventure this year. Did a Metroid Prime 2 and 3 remastered, the same quality as Metroid Prime. Did an F-Zero GX remastered port. Had a Xenoblade Chronicles X port brought over.
Yeah.
Did something
that sounds delicious.
Like brought out a new Punch-Out game.
Oh yes.
And then on top of that, something unexpected like ARMS 2. I'm talking like crazy.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Those are a lot of franchises that we haven't seen in a while. That would be plenty of games to play. I just listed off like 8 or 10 or something like that, including titles that you haven't seen in a while, being Star Fox, Donkey Kong, and Punch-Out, that those would be brand new, fresh experiences, but put on this 142 million selling platform at some point, early in the year. That why would you need new hardware yet? And that's really been it. You sell the new hardware with the beloved franchises that sell the hardware. You launch the new hardware with the tried and true Mario Kart, Zelda, Smash Brothers, that kind of thing. Not necessarily so much Punch-Out. But you sell Punch-Out to the people once there is a large install base. But anyways, I agree with that. If you have software, who's going to complain? And some people say, well, the performance of it. I don't see anybody complaining about the performance of Pikmin 4. Pikmin 4 ran very well and looked really good. Same with Mario Wonder. So it's really about the developers and can they do it. Anyways, back to the main question was on the hardware gap. You know, I was having fun recently. I told you a little bit about it behind the scenes with when I think the system's going to come out. And I just had fun looking at, well, how many days were there between when Nintendo first announced Nintendo Switch and when did it come out? And that was 134 days. So I looked at that same amount of time frame and saw thought, when could it be shown and released in 2024? So I was having fun with, what about a January 25th special Nintendo Direct, which happens to be the 5th anniversary of Metroid Prime 4's public, revamp. And then that would make the system come out in June. And that would be, that 4-month gap. And June is also kind of like March in that it is the 3rd month of the quarter. So Nintendo is able to finish the quarter off strong after having a little bit of sales slouch in the beginning because of people holding on to the next system. And really September is also a possibility for other reasons. But then I also told you behind the scenes, Nintendo Switch right now is just a couple of months away from breaking NES's record for having the longest gap between Nintendo consoles. NES to Super NES was this, 2,600 day gap. And Nintendo Switch needs to beat it, in my opinion. I want Nintendo's best. And that means Nintendo Switch 2 has to come out at least in July.
Okay.
So to do that. So I'm like, come out in July or later to make me happy to have that record, because I feel Nintendo Switch is the best system ever, and it has that one more notch on the belt. Like, it's just a cool stat. And as you could tell, I'm a stats guy.
Yeah.
But in order to do that, they would have to have their direct by February 14th to then have that 134 days later be in July. If this doesn't happen, then I think it's like June through September. Kind of announcement in June, their own thing around the time of E3, around the time of Summer Game Fest, but not quite, paired with Summer Game Fest. And then Nintendo Switch 2 would come out around Indie Mania time, in September.
Sounds good.
I just realized I never actually answered the question, because my whole thing is just like, I don't
That's true.
Yeah, it's like, yay Switch, but yay Switch Pro, Cube, Wii U, NES, yay. But when's the next Zelda coming out? That's me.
Yeah.
But as far as prediction's sake, I did say originally, because last year I was thinking, and they're going to do it similarly to how they did the Switch. You get the little teaser where everybody can just kind of say, "Ooh, what's that?" And then we get the details. I think it came out. It was, Paul, correct me because you're the numbers guy. We got an announcement in September, and then we got the actual teaser for it in December, or were the details and everything, where they had the whole presentation.
October 19th was
October.
2.5-minute Imagine Dragons trailer, and then January 12th was the Japan event.
I'm a month off.
March 3rd was that release. So
I was thinking I was like, okay, so teaser in January, February Direct, March they just do the whole they present the actual thing, give us all the details and the specs, and I was thinking drop in April or April, May, but now I'm kind of like, yeah, but since the Direct is so close, and like you said earlier, we got unfinished business with the current Switch.
Yeah,
I'm thinking because Nintendo does like to stand on their own, and they like to stand alone. They're bold. So I can see them doing fall, but I think the sweet spot is the summer when everybody's traveling, everybody's on vacation, everybody, all the different events that are going on. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and finally. I'm also gonna say summertime. For
release.
I don't know which month, but
right, for release time, right? For release.
For release.
Okay.
Release. So they can announce the thing tomorrow. We still may not get it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think we're all in agreement when it comes to the release period for the Nintendo Switch. I am gonna say that because now Joycey and Paul made me really think about this. The software thing is very important when it comes to Nintendo Switch. I think that we are getting a February Direct. We are getting new games announced for the Nintendo Switch, like the last slate of Nintendo Switch games. I don't think we're going to see anything or hear anything about Switch 2 in February for the Direct, but I do think that we might get a price drop for the Nintendo Switch in February. Towards the end of the Direct, they can say, now the brand new price for the Nintendo Switch, this, and that could push a little bit more on the sales side. And then in March, April, they can announce the system, and we have a price drop that is going to help boost some sales. There. I'm not sure if they're gonna. I think they might discontinue the base model Switch, right? Keep the Switch Lite, Switch OLED, drop the price to $299 for the Switch OLED, and then drop the price to $99 for the Switch Lite at that point, and then present these new games like Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door. What's the other one?
Luigi's Mansion,
a couple other games that Paul mentioned. By the way, Paul, you broke my head. You broke my head. Punch Out, man, that would just be insane.
Punch Out is my happy place.
I think it's unreasonable to expect all those new titles, right? So I'm not saying that.
No, it's not.
But
yeah,
not that that's not my bold prediction, but it's just to prove a point that they could.
Yeah,
you know? And if that were the case, hardly anybody, I think, would be complaining. As much as you want the nice new shiny hardware, at the end of the day, you buy the hardware for the software.
Yeah.
You also buy software. It works both ways. You buy a new console for the games, and you buy the games hoping that the console is going to deliver. And there's this beautiful circle of life, so to speak.
Yeah.
Let's keep it real. I think part of Wii U sales were because a new Zelda game was coming, which they did deliver on.
Yeah.
They did deliver on it. So
you're right. And so with that, we went on with the price point. Price point.
I have a question.
Right? Go ahead. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I keep jumping in. I'm sorry. I have a question. Does Nintendo typically discount their hardware or their hardware around the
always?
Okay.
Yeah,
I've never paid attention.
Yeah.
The first time they haven't done it. The
Yes.
system is about to turn 7, and if anything, it only got more expensive because 3 years in, they released the Nintendo Switch OLED model, which made it more expensive for a premium version without changing any specs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also why I think a price drop has to happen this year, because I can't see a brand new Nintendo piece of hardware being out on the market for $400, and the last gen Nintendo Switch, which would be the OLED model, being only $50 less. It's too small of a gap. So I think OLED goes down to $300. Maybe the OG Switch is gone, or they keep it and it gets a soft drop to like $250, and the NS Lite $150. But then you also have the problem of you have too many comparably named things on the market at once, and it's like, I want the Switch Lite, this Switch OLED, or this Switch Pro, or Switch 2. That's also why the naming. So 2 things: the naming is very important of what this next system is called, because if it's called something that's like Switch Plus, and Switch Lite aren't that dissimilar.
Yeah.
In terms of, there's plus, like a plus sign, like that could be a light, that could be a plus activated. Like you got to be very distinct with that.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, when some people come up with the idea, what if it's not called Switch? I don't like it, because I think the Nintendo Switch is such a powerful name that I want it to continue. But I do see the reasoning of, well, if you keep the Nintendo Switch ecosystem and have these 3 systems still selling, and you have this one called the Nintendo, whatever, it's its own thing. I'm just not a big fan of it. That's why I've been picking the boring Nintendo Switch 2. Not to say boring. They can do cool things with the logo. It's just very not Nintendo.
Call it the Switch NX, and I genuinely mean that, because isn't that what we all talked about when it was the first Switch? I think it would be to be very, very honest, I think it would be a cool shout out to the fans. And I think it's a little bit more eye grabbing, because it's like, oh, okay, do I want to get my kid the OLED model or the What's this NX? What is salesman? What does this do?
Listen,
Okay.
I think
See
the
what
most
I mean?
the simplest thing they can go with is 2.
It's two.
That's the simplest.
And then continue to 3 and to 4 and to 5 and to 6. Keep that number because I think that which one's this one?
Sorry.
The first one or the second one? So people, bless you.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. And so I think believe it or not, we've been dubbing it Switch 2 all this time, and I think Switch 2 is actually like the perfect name if they keep the Switch branding onto it.
Yeah.
They can't go with letters, they can't go with pluses or minuses or pros because that will it can create confusion. A number would actually be good to add next to it, Switch 2. But I'm also I agree that Switch is such a powerful brand, and because it's just I think they found the perfect name for their console since the entertainment system, because that's the name, Nintendo Entertainment System. At the beginning, people were calling it Nintendo. Nintendo was upset because no, it's called Entertainment System. It's from Nintendo. And I remember I had that poster where Nintendo was actually teaching people how to call the system.
Yeah.
Like they were like, nope, you call it this and not that, right? And so I think they actually found the perfect name to continue forward. But then again, I also see the point of having a brand new name, and I hope that the brand new name is as good and as marketable as Switch was, right? Because I mean, the Nintendo Dual, the Nintendo Trio, or whatever, something that maybe goes with what the gimmick of that new system is, because it's going to have one, right? And so with that, we can jump over to the specs. The specs is what's been all over the place. We've heard, I think it's like three or four different sources with different specs of the Nintendo Switch. We had a source that I think this is the one from the Taiwanese one that gave us a specs of 64. The specs that matter to you the most: 64 gigabytes of storage, and what was the other one? The 64 gigabytes of storage. I have the spec right here. Let's see here.
That
I don't know.
8 gigabytes of RAM, and I have to tell you, to be honest, I don't like it. I don't like the 8 gigabytes. I don't like the 64 gigabytes because if Nintendo is looking to make bigger, better, higher quality games, one Call of Duty game that comes from Microsoft is going to take the entire and even more of that storage.
I don't think that's accurate.
Yeah,
8 gigs of RAM seems so. The least of my concern is how much storage is on the system, because like whatever, not that I'm a big fan of it being low. I'd rather it be bigger, but I don't care about that one, because as long as you have a micro SD XC card slot, see, that's the kind of thing that isn't permanent. You are in control of your storage.
Yeah.
Also the battery life. I don't care if it doesn't have the biggest battery life, because that's not permanent. You're in control of the battery life. You could have a battery pack. As unfavorable, as undesirable as it is, you have that. What you can't control is once you throw in that amount of teraflops, that amount of CPU, GPU, clock speed, the motherboard, the gigs of RAM, whether it has DLSS or not, there's no going back. So those are the components I want to be beefier. I want it to be a more powerful system. If you have to skimp on the, storage capacity, that's okay. If you have to skimp on the battery, so be it.
Yeah.
Play in portable mode and plug it into the wall next to you on the couch.
Yeah.
Have a battery pack. Like those things, an interchangeable battery, possibly buy later. But like those are all things that matter less to me, because you can't fix them as a consumer, but you can't fix the system's power later on, saying, oh shoot, well Capcom would like to put Resident Evil 9 on it, but it's not strong enough, so there goes that one.
Yeah, you're right. I think storage is good, but it's not as important as the actual CPU and GPU of the system. And what we do know is it's across the board an 8-inch LCD screen, right? I hope that it is mini LED. Rather than than regular LCD, because mini LED is closer to OLED. Have
you seen the translucent LED yet?
Translucent one?
If it's translucent, okay.
You can see through it. You can see right through it.
Kidding. That wouldn't even work.
You never know. Sometime in the future. But yeah, an 8-inch OLED, not OLED, LCD.
The Switch translucent. I'm sorry, it just came out.
The Switch.
I'm sorry. I'll hush now.
No, that's a good enough game to not sell. I'm kidding. But the Nintendo, you got me with that name now.
I'm sorry.
8-inch of a screen means that we get 1080p. So guess what? It's an upgrade no matter what. When you get that Switch in your hand, it has an 8-inch screen, and you see the games in 1080p rather than a 720 resolution. You're gonna get an upgrade. It's gonna look great handheld, right? Not only that, but when you dock it, it's gonna give you 4K resolution. Not only when it comes to dock versus handheld, it's 1.2 teraflops according to one of them in handheld mode. And then it's 4.5 to 5 teraflops dock mode. Now, what does that mean? It means that it doesn't mean that the dock has some kind of internal CPU or GPU inside of it. It means that when you use it in handheld mode, the actual system is actually going to kind of lower its specs automatically so that it can kind of, it could save you some battery life. Because if it goes all the way to the top when you're holding it handheld, then you're gonna get about half an hour of battery life. So I'm guessing that's why the specs are lower when it comes to handheld versus dock mode. And that or Nintendo could actually give us a dock with some stuff inside that can kind of give us a boost when you're playing on dock mode. Now I have some specs here, some features that, let me tell you, nobody is talking about.
Ooh.
Why? Because these features come from patents that I've discovered on the channel. Okay, they are features, not systems, or they are features. Okay, and these features I've gotten out of these patents. First thing, let's talk about backwards compatibility. You think Nintendo's going to do it? Yes or no?
Oh, do I think they're going to do backwards compatibility?
Uh-huh.
Yes, but I think their heavy hitters are going to be exclusive to Switch Pro Cube Translucent 64 Waffle Maker.
I agree. I agree that the Switch 2 games are going to be exclusive to Switch 2, and then everything on Switch 1 will move forward with, will be compatible with Switch 2. What do you think, Paul?
I think it will be backwards compatible. I think that Nintendo first-party games that are able to be experienced of a higher quality, like whether it's a texture pack or increased resolution, frame rate, etc., are going to be a small payment increase for those, which in my opinion will be fair. But what will be interesting is, does Nintendo mandate that any third parties also follow this, or leave it up to themselves? Like, if you are a third party, let's say Mortal Kombat 1, do you want to let NetherRealm Studios say, yeah, anyone who bought Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch, if you use that same cartridge or that same download file and play it on your Nintendo Switch 2, you're going to get an automatic upgrade for free that brings that game up until the visual fidelity of these maximum proportions that NS2 is capable of. Yeah. Because they might not want to do that. They might want to re-release the whole game again. It might cost too much to do that and to expect it to be free. Or why would I only charge my consumer $5 or $10 when I could redo that? So that's going to be interesting. But overall, I think it will have the ability to play Nintendo Switch games that you bought physically or digitally. I personally think and hope it does, but I also won't be disappointed if it doesn't, because that's what multiple HDMI ports are for on your TV. You just switch from HDMI 1 to 2 or 3 to 4, whatever, and you have two systems hooked up at the same time. No big deal. You have two systems next to you, portable mode, and you take this one or take that one. So not the end of the world for me if it doesn't, but so many Nintendo systems have had it, so I think it will, but we'll see. It's an interesting thought, because we also know that these physical cartridges, even though Nintendo has never used one, in the last
Yeah.
7 years
Mhm.
have the ability to hold 64 gigs of space of a game on the cart. Now it's expensive, which is why you've hardly seen any games go up to 32 gigs.
Yeah.
I think The Witcher 3 is one of the few that I can think of off the top of my head that's a 32
Mhm.
gigabyte cart.
Mhm.
Most don't, but they can go up to 64.
Okay.
And that's part of the speculation of, geez, physical medium is always advancing. Could Nintendo not use these cartridges because they found a new solution
Yeah.
7 years later to have a new proprietary cartridge that goes into the NS2 slot,
Yeah.
which would also help anti-piracy because it has the ability to play old Nintendo Switch cartridges. What if someone out there who's a hacker who has mastered the Nintendo Switch hacking process
Mhm.
takes that, puts it in that slot, and then it just unravels, a can of worms, so to speak, for that?
Yeah.
Or is it some kind of port that, kind of like the DS,
Mhm.
allowed for DS games and Game Boy Advance games? But then, as long as you're having multiple ports, that raises costs of the console. So there's lots of different things. Or do you just say, sorry, folks, digital games are backwards compatible, not physical? Oof, that's a tough one.
That is a tough one. Yeah.
So it's not a guaranteed. I could see Nintendo has a lot of internal debate probably of
Yeah.
how can we master the system from a cost perspective from us,
Mm-hmm.
keep the ecosystem alive for the fans,
Yeah.
keep people still happy and wanting to go forward,
Mhm.
but also not destroy Nintendo Switch sales because, well, why should I buy this one when this one plays both? But also from a piracy standpoint, like, there's a lot of layers to it, and it's interesting. Yeah.
I agree. I agree 100%. I think it's I mean, one thing is for sure, digital future is coming and there's no way stopping it. Right now, if we look at these major announcements that major retailers made, like Best Buy and Target and all these major retailers that hold physical media, they are already getting rid of all the DVDs and all the music and in games also being affected by it. Best Buy, my local Best Buy is completely empty.
Wow.
I mean, they just went completely empty of physical media and video games. They only have those little other carts, and I'm like, wow, this is insane. They're just really going for it, right? And
I came back. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Welcome back. You're good.
I was gonna say I came back just in time, but
yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah. And when these retailers go for it and they remove all physical media, that's the beginning. That's the beginning of the end for physical copies, right? There is rumors that Nintendo's releasing two consoles, one a physical with the physical cartridge and one that's all digital. And going over the features, let's go over the features here because it has one of them has to do with Nintendo thinking about what they're going to do after an all digital future. Okay, will they start this feature with the Nintendo Switch 2? Who knows? But we can't ignore it. It's a patent by Nintendo. Nobody has spoken about it. I released it on Twitter a couple of times, guys. Look at this patent. This is important because this is how Nintendo plans on solving this. It's a good thing for people, for families who have only digital games. So let's talk about it. Besides backwards compatibility, we know that Nintendo Switch Online is moving forward, right? We know that Nintendo accounts are moving forward as well, along with your purchases, your saved data, and your history. So that itself is kind of a hint that backwards compatibility will be a thing because maybe you have a saved data file for your Animal Crossing Island on your Nintendo Switch that can move forward with you on your Nintendo Switch 2. But there is a new feature here, and I'm going to go ahead just to give you guys a little thing. I'm going to show you the patent because I have it right here pulled up. For those of you are hearing it, for those of you hearing the this presentation on either Spotify or everywhere podcasts are heard, I am showing on screen part of a patent that Nintendo is working on that will allow you to share your digital games with up to 4 users temporarily. So let's say you buy a Super Mario Brothers game, and maybe you have 4 friends. You can temporarily share digital games with 4 other people. And here we have part of the data where it says temporarily use of content data permitted. The first figure, you see that there's the first person has the right to use. The second one has they shared it with somebody else, and so the figure has like use of content data not permitted. Like nobody is allowed to use it, but you can actually share. The actual patent talks about sharing digital data with up to 4 users in your. It could be in your family because Nintendo has like a family of 4 thing, right? It could be with your family. It could be with the friends, and I don't know how Nintendo plans to use this, but this is a patent that was discovered that talks about sharing digital games, and so this is the way Nintendo might be looking at in order to when they enter into the digital age, kind of ease that thing about the digital world, because there has to be some kind of change, some kind of form of there has to be I don't know how to call it, but something that really changes the way people think about digital. Right now, digital is just a license that you have that you can that you can use the games, but once those games are no longer available for download, Nintendo closes down the eShop or anything like that, then those games are kind of gone, and you can't really sell digital games either. So the physical, you can take a physical copy of a game and then sell it when you're done with it, and then buy another one. You can't do that with digital, and unless you sell your entire account, which is something Nintendo frowns upon, right? So that is one of the. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say make physical great again, because make physical great again, because I'll be very honest. There's something very unsettling about not owning my thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That I paid for. You know? And the fact that anything can happen. I do have a lot more trust in Nintendo than I do some other companies who will not be named. I'm pretty sure you're not going to necessarily wake up and find your whole account gone without some kind of reason or some kind of something, right? But glitches happen, hacks happen, systems go down. You enter the wrong password too many times and mess around and lose everything. I mean, all kind of different things can happen is my point. So even though I'm probably, one day they're going to shut down Splatoon 3 servers. I still have the physical copy, so I can always revisit and replay the single player if I want to. That's fine. But Mario Wonder, I can play that and for those who don't know, I'm a great aunt. I have a much older brother, and his kids are grown, and they have kids. So when their kids have kids, I can show them. Well, back in my day on the Switch 2, or whatever, we had physical games or whatever, and I could pass that on to them. I'm one of those people. I actually don't sell my games. I don't sell my books either. One of these days I'll show you guys. Oh God, I got too many books. I have like 4 bookcases, and they're on top of each other and everything. So I don't get rid of them because I'm like, it's not necessarily because I'll one day want to sell them. It's just because I might just get a wild hair one day and just say in like 20 years and just say, I randomly just want to play Breath of the Wild again.
Yeah.
I randomly, and the thing about backwards compatibility that I like is you can take those games with you as well. And because I really don't feel like digging out my Wii U, charging it up, just so I can go play Twilight Princess on Wii U. Or pulling out my Wii. In fact, I gotta remember. I'm trying to think where my Wii. Oh, it's in storage. I just randomly thought I didn't know where my Wii was. Or pulling out my Wii and then you know what I mean. So so I see the positives and the negatives, and I think the best thing to do, as of right now, I might feel differently in 5-10 years. The best thing right now is to still continue to do both. Let the consumer decide, because there are people who are strictly digital. They don't want anything else. And then there's people like me who I might buy a game or two digitally, because it's like, okay, whatever. But most of especially our big titles, I want a physical copy. I like going and waiting in line or going to a store and having something physical in my hand and everything. I like that.
Yeah. Oh, I agree 100%. And I think that's crucial, because I don't think we're done with the physical age yet. There's still so much.
It's getting phased out though.
It is. Yeah, it is in a big way. And I think it's going to phase out way too fast though. I think they should go slower when it comes to that, right? Stores trying to just empty their physical stuff so early. It's a bit, you know what I mean?
It's understandable though. It's understandable. I think I wouldn't mind if they moved it all to online, but
Yeah,
I get it, because it's like at that point in the store, it's kind of like, okay, guys, we're not selling enough of this. It's not making us money. It's cluttering up things. We just need to get rid of it.
so funny because here I am talking about, hey, physical should be the thing, and I buy all my games digital. So I'm like the worst person to be talking about everything, right? I have like three games physically.
And the other thing I was going to say really quick, and this is a completely different. This is a culture thing, but there's something very special about midnight releases, special releases.
Oh, yeah.
Not just games, movies, books, all those different things, right?
Mhm.
It's something very special about hanging out in the front of GameStop. You know why everybody's there. You know why we're hanging out. I couldn't get Joe to go to get Tears of the Kingdom with me. He had to work, so I couldn't go this time. But there have been times where I'm just kind of like, I need this game tonight. I'm not sleeping. I'm not anything. And then you're all excited. You all get to talk about it. You all get to kind of, share your ideas and everything. You end up making new buddies, even if they're not lifelong friends. You have a friend in the line for a while, and it becomes really, really. Those are really special moments. And I compare it a lot to E3 2004 when they revealed Twilight Princess, when they didn't know it was going to be Twilight Princess. It was just Link on Epona going across the bridge, and it drove everybody nuts.
Yeah.
We're missing out on those experiences when it's just like, okay, I'll download it and then take a nap and then it'll be there. You're kind of missing out a little bit. So that's more of a human thing.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, how can we do, right? I mean, but what's happening
is what it is.
Yeah, it is. Another feature that has been in one of the patents is video streaming. So Nintendo having their own video streaming service within the Switch. So it makes sense because they're entering into the movie realm now. They're developing movies, not only movies but TV shows. Did you guys catch the Pikmin show? Pretty cool. I love it. I like the Pikmin little mini episodes that they were having. And by the way, I spoke about that last year. That's one of the leaks that I heard about from a source, Pikmin TV show. And so now they have some Pikmin webisodes. Is it webisodes on their Nintendo YouTube channel? And it makes perfect sense. It's like little Pikmin just little missions here and there, doing things here and there. So that's one of the shows that I'm pretty sure is going to be developed more. Imagine a Luigi's Mansion, in a series or whatever like that, right? Like maybe Mario and Luigi are the managers of a hotel, and it's Luigi's Mansion. She's like, in Ghost and whatever, something happened. There's a lot of things that could happen in TV show wise. I think Luigi's Mansion is more of a movie than TV show, but that's another feature that I don't think it's that really far fetched, just because every other system is an entertainment hub as well, like the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series S or X. They're all entertainment hubs. They all have all major apps on them, like Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus, all that stuff. And so this other patent talks about Nintendo having a video streaming service within their UI within the system. So that's something that could possibly come to Nintendo Switch as well. Video streaming, games, and music. So those are the things that were mentioned in the patent. Imagine Nintendo putting all of the music for all their games on NSO, so you guys can listen to music as well. That's a really, really cool feature they could have, music listening, and of course the video, the Mario movie and whatever else they come up with. I know they could have that really old Mario movie from the 90s with John Leguizamo in there too, right?
Leguizamo, I love him.
Yeah, he's awesome. And so just to go over real quick, NVIDIA chip DLSS 3.1, ray tracing for those of you who care about the big little internal specs, 1080p on handheld mode, 4K on dock mode, and then price at $400, which is good price, right? $400. Apparently that's going to be digital. That's one of the rumors out there. Digital $400, $449 for the one with the cartridge. That's the two price ranges that we've heard out there. I hope that it stays at $400. Doesn't go up more than that. Go ahead, Lucas.
Real quick. Shout out to the elemental hero, the Shadow Link Dragon Wolf King. Say that 5 times fast.
Shout out.
People are
Go ahead.
one of our viewers.
Uh-huh.
People are now realizing what Sony/Discovery has done though. People are realizing that a company can remove anything at any time, and now buying physical because of that situation. That wasn't the only situation, but that perfectly encompasses what I was saying earlier about the importance of physical. Same with music. Same with funny story. A certain very, very, very talented big artist who was on tour last year with several other people released an album, didn't get all the clearance for it, certain things.
Yeah.
Really, really glad I got that physical because the digital versions have been updated. So my album, my CD, yes, y'all, I have a CD player. I know it's crazy. My CD has the original, what it was meant to sound like, but the digital sounds, it's not a huge difference, but it's just the fact that that difference is there. I want, and yes, deals should be made and people should do what they're supposed to do, but that's not the point. The point is, the fact that you could update somebody's album, a huge artist's album, you could also take it down. And now I don't have that album anymore, and nobody's talking refunds. So that's what I'm saying. So I'm not just talking video games. I mean this about books. I mean this about
movies as well. Yeah.
Movies too.
Yeah. I think that people don't like NFTs, but there's something there in that type of technology that could actually help the digital age when it comes to owning your own things and taking things with you. I know in NFTs you have your own wallet and where you put your coins in and your Bitcoin and stuff. You have a wallet, and so I think that technology could be used for you to also have a wallet in the gaming era where you can actually take your games with you and store them there, and then wherever you go, take those games with you, play them on this console and take them with you like a portable storage, and therefore at least you have your games with you. You can take those games and maybe transfer the license. Nintendo takes a fee, right? And that's like the way you sell that game. You kind of transfer the license to somebody else, and digitally, like in a world in a kind of, what do you call that? Like that type of thing. I don't know what you call it because I don't really do that much. Like what do you call that thing? That there's a word for the system where you transfer Bitcoin and all that stuff. What's that system called?
Cryptocurrency.
There's a phrase, or what you call the actual
Bitcoin.
No, Bitcoin is like the actual coin.
The process of transferring it.
Yeah, it's what do you call the store or the place where you sell and you buy coins?
Not stock market. No,
not the stock market. No, there's
a stock market.
Well, it's kind of like the stock market, yeah. But when it comes to games, you can buy and sell and trade digital games, just like you do stocks, maybe, just like you do, things like that. Something that could actually benefit the user and also benefit Nintendo, because Nintendo, they will take a fee, because first thing, it's their license. They are licensing the game to you, so it's really not yours. But they give you the ability to actually be able to handle and buy and sell digital goods. You know what I mean? So hopefully something comes along that could make that possible. Maybe like a little digital storage that you have, that you can actually download your games from the server and then have them with you, take them with you, play them on whatever console you have, right? And so on, right? I know that opens the floodgates for maybe piracy and a whole bunch of other things, but then again, Nintendo has to kind of look for ways how to protect themselves, right?
And then there's also the good thing about I guess another positive thing is there are people who genuinely like to double dip.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I want the physical for my collection so it looks pretty on my shelf, but I'm gonna buy it digital. So then in case something ever happens, I still have my I still have my copy, my physical copy. Or if I ever want to sell my whole collection, I forgot who it is, but there's a lot of people who have genuinely Literally.
Yeah.
Collected every single Switch game that has come physical. Doesn't matter if they even like it or not. They just buy it.
We got the perfect name for the Switch.
That's right, having hope. That's right, girl.
Switch to you. By the way, having hope. That's a beautiful picture you have there too.
Like seriously though, I kind of still like my random outbursts of
It's to you.
The Switch translucent. I'm kind of digging
translucent.
that. What if they gave us different patterns like they did the N64, where they had they did have translucent ones.
I know, right?
Colors. They should do that.
That would be cool.
We would buy different ones just for colors. Like I still want the Mario OLED because it's red.
I miss the Nintendo 64 group of colors for the controllers, like all generation long.
The
only Pro controller we had was the black one. Now we did have the black and white Tears of the Kingdom one, a Splatoon
Smash was black and white,
a Xenoblade Chronicles, 2 splash of Monado color on there, some blue and pink, but that's not what I mean. The Monster Hunter, but I mean just boom, basic blue, basic red, basic yellow, basic purple. We never got those all generation, and I would have bought one of the primary 4: yellow, blue, red, green. So I kind of want that for this.
I do want that back, especially in red. Red's I don't wear a lot of red, I know, but it is one of my favorite colors. It's just such a statement, look at me color. That's why I don't always wear it, but if I can have it around me, I will. Hence the inside of my coffee cup is red.
Yeah. And that
Can we talk about
that is a good segue.
Can we talk about the Zelda movie?
Yeah, to move over to our next topic, because it's a good topic. I'm gonna go over it before we head out. And this is the Zelda movie. Okay. If you didn't know, if you've been living under a rock, yes, there is a live action Zelda movie currently in pre-production right now. And it's happening, Miyamoto himself, along with the Sony president. Yes, you heard us right. Sony is making the Legend of Zelda movie. Sony Pictures, along with Nintendo. Miyamoto is involved, and Nintendo, they're both investing in it. Sony is investing in it, and so is Nintendo investing in it. So, it's going to be a great movie. And well, in this past week, we got an update on the movie. It's going to be live action, of course. And so there is here. Let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and read the quotes, and then kind of go over some questions here for the rest of the crew to see what you guys think about this. First, we have the Sony CEO, Kenshiro Yoshida, expects the Legend of Zelda movie will deliver an amazing tale of adventure and discovery. That's crazy, right? I love how he describes the movie. He's the Sony, the president of Sony, and he also commented at CES as well. He basically kind of gave the same answer, but he is very excited for the Legend of Zelda, and it's been a life dream to work with the franchise. And the thing is that, trust me, people outside of Nintendo, they acknowledge that Zelda is a crazy IP to work with. It's an amazing IP. A lot of people who have worked on it. We've had the voice of Mineru here on the channel, and it was a dream for her to work on a Zelda game. She's worked on it. People are crazy about the franchise. And then we have Shigeru Miyamoto in an interview. He talked about the plans of the future for the movie beyond the first one. You hear that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shigeru Miyamoto talked about plans of the future of Zelda movies beyond the first one. He said, ultimately, we want to capture the spirit of the game in the format of film. To achieve that, we will make sure that the direct sequel will retcon half of the first film's plot. So
I don't know how I feel about that part, but I want Paul to say stuff.
Yeah, I want to go ahead and shoot out to Paul. Paul, go ahead. Again, make sure that we'll make sure. Let me go ahead and read that one more time. We will ultimately want to capture the spirit of the games in format of film. To achieve that, we will make sure that the direct sequel will retcon half of the first film's plot. What do you think, Paul?
Really exciting stuff on many levels because, first of all, the movie got a sequel before the first one even came out.
Yeah.
Here, Mario
The script isn't even written yet.
Mario's almost at $1.4 billion, and we have yet to actually hear Nintendo say or Illumination say, guess what? We're making a sequel to 2023's hit film, the Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Yeah.
And Zelda's already got a sequel in the pipeline, so I'm excited times two because I get my Zelda movie and I'm getting a sequel. Secondly, for anybody who looked at it as, oh man, Nintendo's teaming up with Sony, they're enemies for the movie. Yes, they are rivals in the video game industry and stuff like that. But in this case, look at it like this. The rival is promoting your franchise. You know, like that's not a bad thing to have. When Nintendo, yes, Sony is thereby, publishing the film on those movie regards, 49% of it or something like that on their money, but they're a big brand. So this is only going to help Nintendo out. I think Nintendo has more to gain from this than Sony. When the Legend of Zelda film eventually comes out and it's available on Amazon and everywhere, it's going to be available on PlayStation. That's in their ecosystem.
Yeah.
On their movie role. Like right now, I could watch the Super Mario Bros. Movie on Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5. That's marketing for the other. So it's not a bad thing if anybody ever thinks back to like, well, isn't that not good? It helps Nintendo out more than anything. Okay, but
this is Nintendo's villain origin story. We got Sony to invest in our movie. Now they market all of our movies, which makes their players buy games.
So some people are looking at this as, oh, Nintendo had to,
I'm kidding.
Go to the villain. No, this is Nintendo being like, you're working for us.
No, Sony came to Nintendo. They went to Nintendo.
Popular.
Yeah, because most likely, their first choice was going to be Universal, to work with Nintendo to produce a movie, but Sony wanted to jump in with Sony Pictures. And by the way, guys, Sony has the best cinematics for this movie. They are the top of the line to me. They have the top of the line equipment to bring to life when it comes to okay. Spider-Man No Way Home is theirs. They produced it. Marvel it's part of the MCU, but they produced it, and they have, I think it's in good hands. It's in good hands, and I think that the movie will look incredible. It will look incredible.
Behind it, Nintendo's not just washing their hands. Miyamoto's involved. Nintendo's involved. This will be probably, hopefully, I think likely as good as Mario was for Mario with Illumination. This will be for Zelda But the main question you asked, there's just a lot on my mind in this is that sign that word the wording about the second film will retcon half of the first. I don't think we could literally take that verbatim, that exactly half of the film is going to be undone. But I do think that it gives a little bit of a hint of something going forward. Maybe the hero dies in the first Legend of Zelda movie, for instance. But the second one possibly is we're going to have Link back again. Why? How? Let us tell you a story deeper into the legend that Links are reincarnated X amount of decades, centuries, whatever later to become a new hero and stuff like that. So that's what I mean by retconning, not, well, they're just going to undo it. So what's the point? Because you never want to make a sequel so powerful that it undoes the necessity to watch the original film. You want the original film to still have a purpose, a reason to go back to. Kind of like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. They're two very independent games. And in some ways, you could say Tears of the Kingdom retcons Breath of the Wild, because then you're like, well, did the events of Breath of the Wild happen if Princess Zelda was in the past as this dragon and all that stuff? No, Breath of the Wild still exists and it's still its own beast. And you can still play that and enjoy that game. And Tears of the Kingdom, they're very different in terms of a lot of the gameplay functionalities for the heroes that help, the spirits, and so forth.
Mhm.
That the successor doesn't negate the original, and
Yeah.
I think that's something that we're going to see briefly hinted at in the film, but don't expect it by verbatim, not literal wording, but something's going to happen that helps make more sense of whatever this first Zelda movie comes out. And the thing that's just stirring through my mind is somebody dies, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the location of something,
Mhm.
or the reason why we're going with the same actor, even though it's going to be a different Link.
Yeah.
Oh, so there could be a fleshed out storyline, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a different Link that takes place a couple hundred years later. It's not a literal sequel that is, 3 months have passed and let's go on. So I'm not too worried. Like I said, as long as Nintendo's involved, which they are,
Mhm.
I feel safe. I will trust Sony to,
Give us the money.
find the
Oh,
right
sorry.
find the right costume designers, find the right set designers, find the right people to hold scaffolding, and have the way a script is supposed to be written out, how to
Mhm.
train the voice actors, find people to find the choreography for the martial arts sequences, and to design the swords and all that stuff, and to market the movie and to call Good Day LA, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'll trust them to do their job.
Yeah.
But I will, and that's the part. That's why you need a big company with a lot of experience in handling that. You also need someone good in making the film, and I think Wes Ball will do his job with that. Nintendo, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. I will be absolutely shocked and incredibly saddened if the movie's a flop, but I really don't think
Yeah.
it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Not this Nintendo. This is not 1993's Mario film, which for
Yeah.
what it's worth, I thought it was fun. It's not a great film, but it's a fun film. It's not bad.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not great, but it's not bad. It's okay. It's fun. It's fun for
Yeah,
what it
it's
is.
not
This
great, but it's not
Nintendo,
great.
this Nintendo
It's a
cares
guilty
more
pleasure
about
that you
their
should feel
IP.
guilty about.
Right.
This
Yeah.
Nintendo
I
cares
agree.
more about their IP than ever.
Yeah.
They've got
True.
stock on top, the best-selling console of theirs ever, almost the best-selling software ever.
Mhm.
Every game that came out for franchise was the best-selling on this platform.
Yep.
Their theme park, they've brought it out with Lego for the first time, and Lego's been around in the popularity of the NES, yet Lego and Nintendo have never partnered before.
Yeah.
They're partnering with Levi's. When Wii was around, that was big. Nintendo didn't partner with Vans or Levi's or Puma. They're doing it now. And none of these products are crappy. They're all good quality products that properly highlight Nintendo's vision of control and quality in the product of the games, and that's being reflected. Like this Lego Bowser that I put together over the last couple of weeks, it
Mhm.
was a blast. It's an awesome piece. That Levi's jacket that I have,
Yeah.
it's not some no disrespect to a fan artist's drawing of Mario. No, that is Nintendo's drawing of Mario printed on that Levi piece of clothing. So they're very much in control, and that's why I think they're picking the right partners. So they
Yeah.
wouldn't be willy-nilly, yeah, let's Sony, let's do it. No, this is going to be something special. I especially after Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom,
Uh-huh.
I think now is the best time for a Zelda movie to exist, because Zelda is the most powerful it's ever been, which makes them have more weight behind their voice into making sure that it's done right, because it's not seen as like, this thing sells like 3 million to 9 million, like it's popularly reviewed and favored, but it doesn't have that mass appeal, so it's not going to tarnish anything. No, this is the one of the highest reviewed games of all time, one of the best selling of the last decade. This is our baby. This is right there with Mario. This is what we have known for a long time, Joycey, that Zelda's right there with Mario. It's just bigger now that the rest of the world sees, oh, yeah. That was my, I just talking on everything. I know you'll see, that's the thing. You asked me one question. What do you think about this whole retcon thing? And then just unravel this giant ball of yarn that I'm like a cat playing with.
Paul, let me tell you something, Paul. You always have the floor, and we will never interrupt you because you always have something great to say. So I'm gonna leave it there. That's why I will never interrupt you, Paul. Never. Okay, it's Paul's corner. Paul's corner. Whenever Paul's talking, it's Paul's corner. We appreciate it. We appreciate your input because it's awesome. One thing that I told Joycey behind the scenes when we were talking about yesterday in the meeting is that what if they actually do like a saga, right? Like they do, for example, the Triforce saga, and something, and each movie in the Triforce saga is like one has to do with the courage, the Triforce of courage, the other one the Triforce of power, the other one, and it's focused on Link, Zelda, and then at the end that last movie, Ganon. And then they move over to the next kind of saga, and they have like just like the Marvel is doing with their movies. They have like the Infinity Stone saga. They have this type of saga and this type of saga. Maybe Nintendo can go that route when it comes to kind of pushing, expanding, because he's not talking about sequels here. He's talking about more than two movies. He goes movies beyond the sequel. We have a super chat here from Taker 610. Thank you so much for that super chat. Says Paul, it sounds like you think that Zelda movie doesn't adapt a game storyline, but does a completely new story separate from any other of the games, correct?
I don't think it's gonna be Skyward Sword the movie, or Ocarina of Time the movie, or Breath of the Wild the movie. I think it will be kind of like the Legend of Zelda games are. Each one is its own thing, but does draw parallels. Ocarina of Time does draw some inspiration from A Link to the Past. There is this character. He does wake up. There is Kakariko Village. There is this past and present. There is this dark and light, but it's its own thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think in those regards, the movie is going to be kind of like a new game where it draws inspirations from the past with music and elements and a tree in the woods and a hero and a boy and a girl and a princess and a bad guy and characters, but it's going to be its own story. I do think that it might share some story elements, like maybe it will pull a little bit from Ocarina, but if it pulls from one too much, then you could say it's a soft take on, a Skyward Sword reinterpreted movie. But I think it's going to be even less than a soft interpretation. Just it might pull a time component, or it might pull an Ocarina instrument.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be something small like that, and not too many things that make it feel like, oh, this was Minish Cap the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A few things that work well. Yeah.
That makes sense.
We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be a story that the general audience can really fall in love with and get to know the characters, because this is for the mainstream media, not just us fans. If it were just for us fans, Nintendo would actually kind of follow the story, make Breath of the Wild 2 or something like that. But it's because it's for the main media, they have to go back from the beginning and present the story in a way that the mainstream media can kind of follow and understand. And when Paul mentioned this earlier, is, for example, by keeping the same actor, even if there's a reincarnation type there, keeping the same actor will still create that attachment to the character. Instead of giving you like a different Link every time like we have now, right? Go ahead, Paul. You got something.
They could get away with changing, because no Link looks identical in any Zelda game, except for, I guess you could say, Wind Waker to not Spirit
Tracks.
The
Phantom
first,
Hourglass.
yeah, Wind Waker to Phantom Hourglass, Ocarina to Majora, Breath of the Wild to Tears of the Kingdom. I think those are the only Zelda games.
There's slight differences though, because they're older
the same
in their
Link,
sequels.
though.
Okay, yeah.
The same Links, but otherwise, the Links look different. Sometimes they have different colored hair, different colored eyes. Some are left-handed, some are right-handed, etc. So we know that's more or less the same looking kid, the same looking teen,
Yeah.
young adult, whatever. But in a movie, whatever star you have, you want that star power to exist. You don't want to refresh with a whole new actor for Link of Zelda.
Mhm.
And that's one of those retcon things that I think is, how do we explain it? Hundreds of years have passed, and how is this guy still him? Or he
Yeah.
died, or someone dies. How are they back? Let's tell you a story of you're actually the second in a line or 10th in a line of a legendary hero. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you think there's a
I'm excited.
possibility?
Like, oh, I'm all. Woo.
I think there's a possibility that Nintendo might just remove the that part of the lore for a movie.
What part?
The reincarnation part.
I don't think they'll start with it because they don't want to confuse people, and they also don't want to ruin it because they have to assume, even though a lot of people are watching this that are Zelda fans, a lot of people would be more wowed by finding it later, you know? Maybe.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure that's a part of the writing process. Do you start off the movie with the legend of, the tale of a young hero and from warriors within, and this is the 15th line, like, or you just drop it in, and then later on towards the end, you unravel this greater mystery of like, what? I'm a reincarnated. Like, I think that holds a little bit more weight, and then allows you to do more things in the sequel and stuff.
Yeah, it'll be crazy good, nice if Link finds out within the movie later on that he is reincarnation version of a past, like like he finds out. It's like a discovery, and I think that the audience can discover together that with Link during the movie because he doesn't know himself, and then maybe Link and Zelda both discover that within the movie, and they are surprised, and we are surprised. Like the mainstream media is surprised with us. So I think there's a lot of ways Nintendo and Sony can go with to. Man, I'm getting excited more and more.
You only get that shot once.
Yeah,
Jesse,
what do you think?
I don't know. You guys keep pulling all the good ideas, so I don't really have much to say at this point.
Actors. Let's talk about that. How about we talk about?
No, please don't.
Actors.
Please don't. I really don't want to talk about actors.
With Henry Cavill as Ganondorf, as we
that's a good one.
About a couple of months ago, remember?
Yeah, he's a good actor. He's a good actor. He'll make what's it called, like a hot Ganon, like a hot Ganon. What they call it? I saw that online. If we have like a Henry Cavill or what's his other guy? They mentioned there's three actors. Dave
Bautista, I see popping up.
Bautista will be a great Ganon too. He got some acting chops. I saw there's this movie called The Cabin, something like that. The Cabin, where he actually showed that he's a really good actor. Besides him being this character in Guardians of the Galaxy, like dumbed down, he actually showed that he could really act in the Cabin movie, whatever, The Cabin something. Forgot the name of it. Jason Momoa. Who said Jason Momoa? Sorry, Jason Momoa. What do you guys think? Jason Momoa?
I've said that.
I like Jason Momoa. So
yeah,
he's cool.
Yeah, he has it's in the eyes. This whole part of his face, he's really good at making look really, really kind or extremely evil.
And he already has kind of a natural eyebrow.
Right?
Yeah, that's a permanent scar in his eyebrow. I forgot how he said he got it, but it's a permanent scar, so it fits him.
Yeah.
He looks Gerudo already.
So,
Link? How about Link?
What? Oh, never mind. I'll wait till y'all finish.
All right, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I don't want to talk about actors because every time I say anything, everybody wants to burn Tom Holland at the stake, and we don't even know if the poor guy has even.
I want Tom Holland. I want Tom. I can see Tom.
We don't know if that poor guy has even been brought up in the real conversation Nintendo's actually having. So I don't, and I'm team anybody who can do a great job.
Let's just have Chris Pratt be Link, and we'll just get done with it.
He's
right?
Too old.
Two birds, one stone.
He could be Link's daddy. He's too old.
And then Zelda. There's so many actresses right now that could be Zelda. That could do a really, really good job. But I believe that we have to get real good actors. I mean, Oscar-winning actors, because this movie, when it comes out, is gonna win an Oscar. It's gonna win an Oscar. Best actor, best cinematography, best story, best everything. It's a unique story.
I like Finn Wolfhard.
Uh-huh.
From Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters
Yeah.
as Link, because I saw this guy for the first time in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
And unlike a lot of movies and TV shows where, well, I mean, even in Stranger Things, but unlike most where the actors are significantly older than their roles because they need to be of a better quality, the Stranger Things cast, they were all very close to the age that they were. And I was watching Stranger Things and I was like, this group of kids are acting so well, so mature, so believable. They look happy, they look sad, they look scared. They're nailing their lines. And of all of them, the one that would look most like Link is Finn Wolfhard. And he's only gotten better as an actor. Anybody could get buff. Anybody could train with me for 4 months and get into really good shape.
Yeah.
And
Nintendo
already has a
probably
thin
offering
frame.
his services.
You just got to stack muscle on top of him. You've got to have some martial arts fight choreography with me or anybody else in Hollywood that would train him as good as me. And that guy, he would be my pick right now for Link. Also, because he's 20, which means they're going to start filming at 22.
Yeah.
And I want someone to be young enough that could grow into the role
Exactly.
and be Link for 2-3 years, because the Link that is Link right now, assuming we're going with like a 17-year-old Link, that's him. If this Zelda movie lasts 10 years, Link's going to be reincarnated, presumably, unless if it's happening 3 months later, as the same 17-year-old Link. So do you want someone who is 30 now that's going to be 40 in a decade for the third film to come out that looks kind of, no disrespect, but older, that like a 40-year-old doesn't look like a 17-year-old Link anymore if he's supposed to be 17 still? Or do you want to cast someone who's 20 that then only looks 26, 27, who's a little bit closer to 17, if that's the direction, if that's the hope. So, but you could also make the argument, well, someone too young is younger people that look more different later on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think at 20, that's just about right. And he's a great actor too.
Yeah, he
I don't
is.
know if the two of you have watched Stranger Things, but
Oh yeah, I watched Stranger Things. I'm hooked on that show. I got hooked on it because of I told Joycey in the meeting. I got hooked on it because of the 80s nostalgia thing. So.
And
I'm not telling you guys my thoughts before the meeting at our meeting anymore, because now I haven't been able to.
Speaking of 80s nostalgia, I couldn't wait until Stranger Things got to 1985 because I knew that this group of kids were going to be obsessed over the Nintendo Entertainment System when it came out. And sure enough, in the last season, I was just waiting for it. Oh, come on, it's 1985 now. Start talking about Nintendo, guys. And that was a conversation that happened in several episodes. We're like, well, I'm playing your Nintendo when we're done with this. And I was like, I was just so happy to be right and to hear NES being talked about in that show,
Yeah. So this is my Link right here, the one you're seeing right now. This is my choice for Link. He's also, I think, 20, right? 21. He has that character look where, first thing, add ears to him and put the hair and everything, right? He could look fierce, like if and serious at the time. He's a good actor, and also he's similar to Finn. You know what I mean when it comes in body structure, stuff like that. Timothy Chalamet. Yeah. So that's my pick for Link.
He's 28. He's like the age of Tom Holland, kind of.
Yeah. He's 28.
Okay.
Yeah. So what do you think, Joycey?
I'm not saying anything about actors. What was the original question? So I had a good thought process going.
The original question I forgot the original question. Okay, we're talking about.
That was the question.
Yeah, what was that?
I think your question was what actors do.
Yeah, that was.
It was the other question of the whole retcon thing, and what did he think he meant by that? Or
yeah. So. Yeah. So the original question has to do with They, that retcon comment that he said, we will have to make sure that that direct sequel will retcon half of the first film's plot. And how does that influence the storyline and what they write the movie? So that's basically that was a question. You want to give your answer for that, Jesse?
No.
No, they really got the answer for that one. All right, all right, so far so good. I'm excited for the Zelda movie. I know Joyce is super excited, ecstatic for the Zelda movie. Paul, you're ecstatic too, right?
100%. And yes.
So that is a good segue to talk about our last topic, which is like for 5 minutes, just 5 minutes for the last topic. And this has to do with Super Nintendo World, right? Super Nintendo World. Just we got some rumors out there. I reached out to a friend of mine to confirm to see if some of it was true. He was like, I'm not gonna tell you directly because I don't want to get in trouble, but I'm not gonna tell you no. Normally he will say no right away, but he didn't say no. And so the rumors talk about first thing, we know that Donkey Kong is being built, right? Donkey Kong and Super Nintendo World in Orlando, here where we live, is being built and opening in 2025. Donkey Kong is opening in Japan this year and also opening in Japan and Hollywood next year, just like here. Not only that, but of course, we spoke about the Land of Hyrule, right? When I spoke about it, you guys remember? I spoke about the Lands of Hyrule back in the day. About my source said there were going to be Lands of Hyrule, and they were going to take part of the theme park and restructure it. So it's confirmed now in a rumor that they are repurposing this area called the Lost Continent into the Legend of Zelda Lands of Hyrule for and this is going to be at Universal Studios. The other one is that they are closing down the Simpsons ride, and that's going to be a Pokemon ride. Okay, the Simpsons ride at Universal Studios. They have that over at Hollywood too, right? At California. Paul?
What was the question?
They have the Simpsons ride in California also, Universal Studios?
A whole Simpsons area, yes.
Yeah,
quite a good-sized area.
So the rumor talks about them closing the Simpsons ride and area. And it makes sense because Disney bought the Simpsons. Disney bought Fox and now they own the Simpsons. And so I'm guessing that the licensing for that has expired, just like they did with Spider-Man and the Avengers when they were in Universal back in the day. And so that's going to be repurposed for Pokemon. So maybe that entire area will be Pokemon area for Nintendo, for Universal Studios. And then the other one is Luigi's Mansion coming to Epic Universe here in Orlando, Florida. Those are the three rumored areas that are coming to Nintendo, Super Nintendo World. And so, yeah, so some thoughts. What are your thoughts on those areas?
I can't wait. Give me more.
Can you imagine a Luigi's Mansion you can stay in?
Luigi's Mansion is really cool. If you could walk around in it,
yeah,
and have any kind of interactivity, that would be fun.
Yeah.
If it's a slow motion ride and it's sort of interactive in that way, where you could, play with the vacuum and flashlights. I mean, they have an interactive arcade game. I don't know if either of you have been to one, but like Dave and Buster's and stuff like that usually have the Luigi's Mansion arcade little setup that you sit in. But that's pretty cool. But a Luigi's Mansion thing would be neat. Legend of Zelda would be epic. I mean, it sounds like Universal could eventually become the true Super Nintendo world.
Yeah.
And I am all here for it. I've been to Universal Studios, quite some times in my life because it is just 20 miles away. And the Simpsons area, if that would become a Pokemon area or whatever kind of Nintendo area, that would be really exciting. I like the Simpsons ride there. It used to be Back to the Future way back in the day, which was a really cool ride too. But I think about the Simpsons property once in a while and it being there. And there are always people in line for the ride, but it's never a whole lot of people. There are people around there having a good time, but never anything too crowded. And then Simpsons is still a popular TV show, but Simpsons isn't quite what it was in the 90s as far as
Yeah.
a draw goes, or with merchandise, but it's still well respected and well liked and still a decent part of pop culture. But like you said, is it drawing as much as it could?
Yeah.
And with Disney owning it, I'm sure there's certain rights that, well, we bought it for the park purposes, but Disney might want to incorporate it into Disneyland possibly and do something brand new and reboot. And like, who knows? But I would not be, part of me would be a little bit sad to see it go, but I would be more happy to see, like, dude, fill that with Nintendo of one of those properties, Luigi, Zelda, Metroid, Star Fox, Pokemon, whatever.
Yeah.
Another one. I don't know. Have you either of you two been to that Universal Studios in Hollywood?
No, I haven't there. No.
Transformers is still a pretty big IP, thanks to the movie still coming out and stuff like that. And that's right next to Super Nintendo World. So I wouldn't say take out Transformers, but right next to Transformers is The Mummy. And it's kind of an interesting choice because The Mummy, had a good few movies with Brendan Fraser and The Rock and Scorpion King and a little spin-off. And then it tried to come back years later with the Tom Cruise one, which was a good movie, but didn't do anything to reinvent it. I'm like, I think that space would be probably better suited for, more Nintendo.
Right, more than Nintendo. And what do you think?
I'm on team, make the whole thing Nintendo.
Lands of Hyrule, Joycey, what do you think? You're in Hyrule. What do you think?
I love it.
I think Joycey will just quit her job and just go work Universal. Lands of Hyrule.
Sounds cool.
What do you think? You got any thoughts?
Not really.
No?
No.
Yeah, I think Joshi's tired. He's tired.
I did just get off work.
Yeah, you're right.
Let me live in Hyrule.
So yeah, Super Nintendo World might be getting those parks. Right now they're rumors until Nintendo confirms it, but it's eventually it looks like Universal is gonna be Nintendo Central with Super Nintendo World, Donkey Kong, Lands of Hyrule, Pokemon, and a lot more. I think sooner or later we'll be in the live action Splatoon little park there, kind of splatting around everywhere inside Universal Studios. So yeah, that was the last topic of the day. And so with that, we can go ahead and just if there are any questions in the chat, we can go ahead and answer them right now. So put your question here. You can direct your question at Joycey, at Paul, or at myself. Just go ahead and do it at Joycey or at Paul or at Mike Odyssey. Okay. So if you have any questions, and we'll have some lo-fi music while those questions come in. So far, we've spoken about Nintendo Switch 2 coming this year. Other topic, what was the second topic? The Zelda movie, and of course, Super Nintendo World. So if you guys have any last questions before we go ahead and put the candle, we blow the candle on the season premiere of the Nintopics Podcast, season 1. Next week we'll be back at the same time, same Nintopic time, same Nintopic hour, same Nintopic day. And do you guys see can't post any comments to some destinations? Do you guys see anything coming in? Because for some reason it's not showing on my end. All right, so with that, we bid farewell to wait,
Here they come.
Okay. Oh, okay, yeah. It just took a little time here. So let's see here. Do any of you collect Zelda strategy guides?
I have an old The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time player's guide from Nintendo Power.
Wow.
One for Majora's Mask, because back then when you would subscribe to Nintendo Power, your free gift was a player's guide of your choice. So naturally, I chose those two Zelda ones. And I think that's it. I think that's the only two player's guides or strategy guides that I have. There might be a third one, like Twilight Princess, that I bought it because it was a nice artwork or something like that, or it came with a poster. So I might have like 3.
Yeah. Do you have any guys, Josie, from Zelda?
I have Twilight Princess. I'm looking at my bookshelf.
of course, I have Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And I don't know if this counts, but I do have Hyrule Warriors.
Hyrule Warriors, that's awesome.
Was there a Hyrule Warriors for Age of Calamity?
Yeah.
I mean, I know there was a game, but was there a strategy guide? Does anybody know?
Let's see.
I'm gonna double check on Amazon because I feel like I meant to buy that, and for some reason,
Calamity.
yeah.
Hyrule.
The Tears of the Kingdom one is extremely detailed, like extremely.
Really? Is
Yes.
it the one with the card cover?
The Tears of the Kingdom strategy guide?
Mhm.
No, I got the hardback. The hardback. I think it's just a solid cover.
Okay. Yeah, there's the guide for Age of Calamity.
Okay, well, I'll probably have that one eventually. But unfortunately, I'm not great at collecting because I've never really sat down and collected things. So I collect, but I like books. I have lots and lots of books.
Mhm.
I just don't always have like the full set of something. I'm really not great at that all the time because I always catch up too late. I wish I had kept like a lot of things from like my childhood, like my NES collection. I didn't even have a full collection of NES games, but I did have a lot of them. I wish I had kept those and their box art and everything.
Right.
But you know, it's all good.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris Lancer asked me. There's some other questions.
All right. We have another question here for Joycey from Chris Lancer.
Do you really plan on using your script for a Zelda movie? If Nintendo would buy it, but let's be really, 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 really realistic here. I'm not being hard on myself or anything. Let's be realistic. Then people don't know me. And so somebody who has no official education in film, no official education in writing, you know, guys, for those who don't know, I'm an insurance agent. So there's not really any reason why, you know, somebody would give me a chance. It would literally have to be one of those little miracles that God thankfully gives us, you know, at times where I would have to bump into Doug somewhere, some way, somehow at a coffee shop and just happen to have that script in hand and say, dude, just read this and just tell me what you think. So that's the truth. But I did write it for fun.
Mhm.
I do truly enjoy writing. It is therapeutic. It's cathartic. It takes me away. You make your own rules if you're writing fiction or fantasy or anything of that nature. I mean, literally everything is your own rules. Nothing is off limits.
Mhm.
And when you just let your mind go, it can take you to some really, really, really amazing places. I'm proud of it. I would like to eventually maybe just get it out there, but it is somebody else's IP.
Mhm.
So I don't know how that works. I was talking to Mike earlier this week, and I even suggested, do we know any animators? Maybe we could animate it.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't want us to get sued by Nintendo. That's not good. We don't have that kind of money. So, you know, we'll see. Maybe one day I'll just, you know, for fun, after I get it completely copyrighted, I'll just drop it in the Discord.
I mean, let me tell you
Let's
one
all
thing.
just have fun with it.
Let me tell you one thing. A writer is not made, is born. I think you are a born writer. You know,
True.
and so you have the time, and I think that I would love to see that's your script. And I think you know, Rawlink is making Zelda content. They're making Zelda movies like with a lot of chibi. What do you call that? They're making like a mini movie with the Legend of Ocarina of Time animated.
I definitely ain't got no R1 money.
Yeah.
That is somebody Nintendo needs to hire, and
Yeah,
I genuinely mean that.
So
I
I
don't get the style Ocarina movie.
Yeah. Like
Say again?
The Studio Ghibli kind of inspired.
Yeah.
Except his doesn't look corny. It looks good.
Yeah.
Like
No,
really good.
he's doing a great job.
He really is. I mean, that's somebody. If they were to say, Joyce, I will totally animate your script. It's like, let me find some money from somewhere. But yeah. That's a compliment. That's as big a compliment as Nintendo.
So it is super it is super possible. It is possible. So
yeah. So if anybody knows where Doug gets his coffee in Texas, I can run into him.
We'll just go in and run into them like into the coffee shop. Oh, I'm sorry. You know, like he like spills something on top of something.
I
Oh,
bump into you again.
So Taker610 says, I have a bet with Nate that Switch 2 gets revealed this month. What are your what are your odds? Don't think this month. I don't think Nintendo will get the Switch 2 out or spoken about before the direct. Before they take care of some business with Nintendo Switch, because they still have games to reveal and to get some release dates out there. I don't think we'll get a reveal before the direct. I think it'll be after the Nintendo Direct. That's my personal opinion. I think that Nintendo's gonna work that way. I mean, they've waited already. They waited all 2023, nothing whatsoever in 2023 when people were saying, "Oh, we're gonna hear about it at Gamescom. We're gonna hear about it at Game Awards." I always said no. Nintendo's not in a rush. Paul himself said Nintendo's not in a rush. Look at the sales. They're amazing. They're doing super well. They can take their time. So I think that they're gonna, like I said, unfinished business with the Switch. Take care of that in the Nintendo Direct. Maybe price drop, and then in March, April, then we'll see like a reveal, and then a summer release date. But that's what I think about that. Anybody wanna chip in?
20% chance it happens in January.
20% chance. There you go. Paul gave you a 20% chance it happens in January. So there's
that's because it works so well.
Yeah.
With the January 25th Metroid Prime 4 thing.
There you go.
Oh.
What's that movie? Like, so you're telling me there's a chance?
if we don't get Nintendo Switch 2 this month, I just please it'll make up for it entirely. And actually it'll be so good that I'm good on big news for like a good 6 months. I don't need almost anything for 6 months. If the following happens on the 25th, I'm so happy with just endorphin rush that I don't need anything else for like 6 months. January 25th.
Yeah.
Folks, 5 years ago today, we gave you some information that Metroid Prime 4 was rebooting its development under Retro Studios. Today, we have something to share with you on this beloved franchise. Enjoy. And then punk us out, kind of. Coming to the Nintendo Switch eShop is Metroid Zero Mission. Relive the Game Boy Advance classic, but that's not all. Metroid Prime 2 and 3 HD Remastered, coming out soon. Well, that's it, folks. We hope to give you news. Wait a minute. Don't you think they deserve one more thing? Okay, one more thing. Metroid Prime 4. That would make the next 6 months like I'd just be happy every day at every moment of the day. I'd be just living. It's all good. Nothing can bring me down.
We just need a mini teaser at this point.
Okay.
Even if they didn't say anything, just any day this month. Not even have to be on the 25th. Just any day this month. I told y'all my idea before. Just drop good 30 seconds. 25 seconds, Nintendo. 25 seconds, okay? Just show off this awesome space and whatever the area is going to be, and then Samus just kind of looking right at breaking the fourth wall and just said, "See you soon," and that's it. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. I would be happy with that.
Jersey, take this one away.
I'm breaking.
Blue Mini is asking, have you played Hyrule Age of Calamity, and is it worth buying?
I bought it and I played through the whole thing, 100%ed it, and then I erased my entire save file and replayed it again, and erased my entire save file and replayed
so it's worth it.
It is worth it, especially if you can find it on sale. I know while Hyrule Warriors seems to be the most popular of the Warriors games, period, because they sell a little bit better because Zelda, but it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth it on sale. I will say this though. The first Hyrule Warriors is my favorite of the two because it has an insane amount of content. And like a crazy woman, I actually 100% of that one. All maps, all costumes, all weapons unlocked. I did all the things because it got to a point of madness for me because I had to beat the machine.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah. That's awesome. So
it's crazy. I was crazy for doing it. Joe told me I was crazy, and it's crazy.
So it is worth buying. Okay, Get it
It's
right.
very fun.
Very fun.
And technically, it is part of. This is a sensitive point with Zelda fans right now, but technically, it is part of the timeline.
Okay.
It's just what could have happened in Breath of the Wild had things gone differently. So it's another timeline that's just out there.
Oh, really? So it's a different timeline
Mhm.
from Breath of the Wild, but it's still kind of connected.
See, at first they marketed it as like
Prequel.
a prequel to
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild. Then things got muddied, and it's like, well, it's not really part of the timeline. It's just spinoff, and everybody was like, what? And then they came back and clarified, no, it really is. It really is part of the timeline. The problem is that it's what things could have happened had certain things changed. Back to the Future will
Yeah.
change
Yeah.
one thing in the past or whatever. It changes the outcome in the
Oh,
future.
wow.
So somewhere in a timeline of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, our champions are alive and
Wow.
they're with Link and Zelda. So yeah. But that's not, but again, that's prequel of what could have happened.
Yeah.
And when you play the game, you find out, you see basically kind of what happens to the champions and
Yeah.
what happens when you don't make it in. And thankfully you make it in time in Age of Calamity, but there's not that opportunity in Breath of the Wild.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And then we have the last question here. Let's go ahead and read it here. At Mike Odyssey, at Joycey, at Paul, Gale Network. Do you folks think AI Shark or Game Shark maybe telling the truth about Nintendo had to stop that news before they were getting sued? So what do you think?
There are a few very real possibilities here. One, this small company that is trying to get some attention for itself is piggybacking off of a very hot topic right now in Nintendo Switch 2 and purely did it for a marketing standpoint of, if we put something out there on Twitter regarding us, only this many people are going to see it. But we attach ourselves to Nintendo Switch 2 and we're going to get lots of publicity and everybody's now going to be aware of our product that we're coming out with that people didn't know otherwise earlier. Possibility. Second thing is they completely just made an honest guess in which later on they could say, well, we were kind of estimating and that's sort of what it was. We don't actually know, but our product, by the way, is releasing in the fall and we think that it will work on it. But if you're saying that it's going to work on it, then you honestly must know a little bit, but it could just be sort of their own wishful thinking, speculation, that kind of thing. Option 3, though, is a very possible. We made a whoops, shouldn't have said that, not professional on our point to spill the beans, retroactively having to undo it by having this announcement, because in that fine amount of time between when it was said and when it was retracted, that could be enough time for Nintendo to say, you have to nip this ASAP because you are one of our partners and neither Capcom nor Konami nor Bandai Namco nor anyone else who's making product for Nintendo Switch 2 is supposed to announce this information before we
Are
do.
they partners?
We don't know, but I mean, like,
okay.
if they are, like, you have development kits for us or something like that for whatever kind of reason, you're not supposed to do that. Or even if they don't, like, they could have been the Nintendo Ninjas. So any three of those are honestly possible. Yeah.
I
Good question.
honestly think somebody at AI Shark, somebody's uncle works at Nintendo, and I honestly think it's two of the three that Paul said. No, actually, there's all three kind of, but I think somebody said, "Ooh, if we were our products coming out at the same time, the new Switch is supposed to come out. Just slide that on in the article, you know." And like Paul said, it brought them tons of traffic and publicity. Now, you know, people are aware. But just that gap, that quick response that they came back, oh no, we were just kind of guessing, you know, sort of thing. You don't say something specific like that. Sorry guys, I got my hoodie and everything. It's actually a little bit cold tonight. You don't just pull that out of thin air. You know what I mean? Somebody's uncle at AI Shark or Game Shark, whatever the heck, works at Nintendo. They know something. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I think that it was spot on, and phone calls were made in those couple hours. Phone calls were made. Ninjas were dispatched,
Mhm.
and they had to retract that. That was I said that's just entirely too specific.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then it kind of lines up with the original Switch in a sense. It's fall going into holiday season at that point and everything. It kind of makes sense. So they either did it truly, but I just don't think it was an accident. Let me just leave it at that. I don't think it was an
Yeah.
accident. They either know something or they were trying to force Nintendo to maybe to say something, which you're never going to do, but something. So but I believe somebody got a phone call from somebody at Nintendo saying, take that down,
Yeah.
retract it, do whatever you got to do. Because most people, what do? They correct it within 24 hours,
Mhm.
not in just a couple hours.
Man. And I agree. I think that any company, major company that got their hands on one of these dev kits, right, might have had some sort of due date, right? That they have to develop by. It says, here's a dev kit. There's a due date. If you wanted this game to be available for launch, then I'm pretty sure they must have given these developers only the ones with dev kits some sort of due date, right? And so they kind of spoke beforehand, or maybe they did it on purpose, like for promotion reasons, which is a no, not great. But
But like you said,
yeah,
the partners haven't said anything, and they probably don't know the exact date
yeah,
either. They're just probably Nintendo probably said, "Hey, give us your games or whatever's going on by this time period." But I really don't know how that works because one would assume
yeah.
the for real partners, Capcom knows and everything, so they know what games they can get on the system at what
Mhm.
time. Or maybe just the other partners are just smart enough to keep their mouth shut. I don't know.
Yeah. Follow-up question. AI Shark, Game Shark. We don't know what it is. It's this software that allows you to cheat in games and allows you to put some cheat codes, right? And
Mhm.
unlimited lives or whatever. Is it something that should be allowed? Is it something that Nintendo should allow on the eShop?
From what I understand, it helps with input and everything, and it can be a great assistance to people who have certain
Ah,
disabilities.
okay.
So that's where I'm like, well, how do we keep that part and take out
Yeah.
the cheap part?
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. If that's the case, that would be awesome. If it has
Yeah,
that
the
feature.
old Game Shark, what that was, or Game Genie before it was,
Uh-huh.
you had codes, and Nintendo wasn't a fan of it. They tried to take Game Genie to court. They got backed away, and with Game Shark, neither Sony nor Nintendo could do anything about it. That was just like, codes for invincibility, for skipping worlds, for unlimited ammo, and those kind of attributes that you could be handled in games. Play as bosses in fighting games that you weren't supposed to have access to,
Mhm.
like that kind of stuff. So that wouldn't fly. But this, like Joycey was saying, it's an AI tool that would help you become a better gamer. And some people are dismissing it as like, oh, to help you just get good. That's not necessarily it. It's like also what Joycey was saying. Let's say somebody has a disability and they're too slow with their reaction to the jump, and the game with this software in it is noticing that every time the character is running with Mario with the analog stick and pushing B, they don't quite reach to the edge. They're jumping before the yellow signifier. They're jumping before. So this would be an automatic, okay, you're running for it, and it disables the jump and makes you jump when you're supposed to, so you clear that part. And that's the AI-driven software technology
Wow.
that is recognizing your gaming patterns to help you actually go forward.
Wow.
So I just made that up, but that is what
Yeah.
I made up an example, but that is in lines of what they're trying to do. So that's why, not that I think a cheat code company would be a licensed partner to Nintendo, no.
Mhm.
But if AI Shark has that kind of thing and it's being pitched to Nintendo as a licensed product because we're making a tool that can help gamers with disabilities or even new gamers have a way to get better through some computational software by
Yeah.
looking at what their mistakes are and improving in that regards, that's how I could see them being partnered with Nintendo in some regards. Or if the company on the back end does more, which if I'm not mistaken, there's a component of the company that could have relevance in audio tech or engineering. So maybe Nintendo is a partner with them in those regards. Maybe not. I'm I'm not entirely sure how big is the company, and sometimes a company is micromanaged or has a fraction of other companies working for it, or is a part of a larger umbrella. But
Yeah.
that'd be another example of, well, if they have an audio partner, then maybe that division had access in helping Nintendo Switch tools with the speaker input or whatever.
Yeah.
That would be a possibility there.
If it's true that will be an amazing tool to have. It'll be an amazing tool to have, and hopefully it goes well. Helps a lot of people to deal with, to play, enjoy the games too. All right, so that does it. That does it for our Nintopic podcast. Thank you guys for the questions. They were all really good questions, very good questions that we could actually do a podcast on.
Yeah.
So thank you, Paul Gill Network. Thank you, Joycey J. Let us know where we can find you, Joycey J.
I am on Twitter at DJ Joycey. I'm just a crazy old lady who likes Zelda.
And she is awesome. You can read. You can go over to her with any questions you have regarding Zelda. She'll trust me. She'll be there for you. She's awesome. Paul Gill Network. Where can we find you?
I'm on Twitter, talking, or X, whatever you want to call it, talking video game news, sales, interesting stats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And on YouTube, though I don't always make video game videos, I have 2 cool new ones on the channel. One is a review of the Mighty Bowser from Lego, and another one I hope everyone in this audience is interested in, because I could use some more views. Just kidding.
Yeah,
partially serious. I did a little video on the Super Nintendo because a lot of people don't know what the BAXY stand for, why the Super Nintendo in North America is different than the one in Europe and Japan, the design choices behind them, the coloring behind the European and Japan one being red, blue, yellow, green, and why United States was purple, and all that. So I was like, a lot of people don't know this. I'm going to make a video. So I think for many people, it might be a first time being like, oh, wow.
Okay, because I've actually wondered that too. Because I was like, why does the Famicom look like that?
Oh, it's a really cool. Well,
because I feel like we got the better. I feel like we got the more stylish in SNES personally.
I like ours better too, but it was a fun video to make because I was like,
I'm gonna go watch it.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna go watch it too. So you guys should go. First thing, subscribe to Paul Gill Network if you have not done so yet, and follow them. Follow DJ Joycey J on Twitter and at Paul Gill Network on YouTube and also Twitter. And guys, trust me, you need to follow these people. These are amazing people to be following and to have as mentors in the world of Nintendo, Zelda, and everything else, because you'll be missing out if you do not do that. So you can find me here at Mike Odyssey Monday through Friday, Odyssey News. We have some reviews coming up. I'm gonna incorporate reviews for games in my videos. So I'm gonna for example do minute reviews on games instead of having to do really big reviews. At the end of every Odyssey News, we'll have a 1-minute review of a game. That way you guys can know whether you want to play it or not. And then we have some products coming up. Like I have a really cool video that I need to be greenlit that's coming up soon. And of course, season 3 of the Nintopics podcast. We are back better than ever next Friday here live, and every last Friday with a special guest. Not only that, but we'll be also live reacting to things throughout the year. It's going to be a fun year. And yeah, I want to thank first and foremost the crew, Joycey and Paul. Guys, you guys are amazing. You guys have my heart. You're part of my family. You're my best friends in the world. And I appreciate you for being here with me. And of course, the amazing.
One more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I feel like Nintendo. We have one more thing because I really wanted to answer this question for Taker because
awesome. Yeah, go ahead.
So kind.
Is this the one?
Mike, you're better at finding this. Will a Zelda remaster be revealed at the next Direct? My personal opinion, not the next one. But remember, that's just the first one of the year.
Yeah. What do you
Ask
think?
Paul. Paul is our uncle that works at Nintendo.
What do you think, Paul?
I want to say yes, but it's safer to say no. But something Zelda is coming.
Yes.
That hasn't been talked about yet. So I do know of something Zelda that hasn't been talked about yet by Nintendo. I don't know
This
if that
year?
could be in February, but something's coming.
This
Do you
year?
know? Do you know what it is?
Yeah.
Spill the
But-
beans.
I just want to know what year. Can I look forward to this year so I can save
hope
up my
so.
PTO?
So is it a remake or is it a new game?
If you can't tell us, don't tell us.
It's something cool that's from that Zelda IP. But
All right. So is it from Switch or Switch 2? Anyway, I mean, if it's backwards compatibility, there's Switch 2. Oh yeah. He's pulling one of those commercials like the
That's great, Paul. That's great.
You know what? That's
I
good.
totally read his lips.
I think that's good enough, knowing that something is coming. That's good. So to answer your question, according to Paul Gale Network, there's something coming. I don't know if it's a remaster, remake, something like that, but it's
Gonna
coming.
probably be another amiibo.
Yeah, another amiibo.
No, wait. And Cass is finally gonna get his own game because he was.
If you
Tears of
ask
the Kingdom.
Zelda remake, remaster. If you ask me, I think it's Ocarina of Time remake or remaster or something in that sort.
Let me leave y'all with something to just kind of think about in your creative brains. Ocarina of Time, completely remade from the ground up in the Wii U tech demo, and all of the gossip stones will have their original text as well as some updated lore from games that came after Ocarina of Time. That way you keep the integrity and the soul of that game, why it was so important. And we get all new pretty visuals and we get some more other fun stuff as well. And then unlock Master Mode at the beginning. Don't make us wait for Master Mode. Just unlock it at the beginning. Okay, I'm done.
That's interesting. That's awesome. But yeah, I mean, for me, I think you know what? I was gonna say no. Switch 2 maybe. Not for now, but Paul convinced me. I'm gonna say yes. There's something coming. I don't know what it is, but it's something coming. But yeah, that is the final question of the podcast. We extended to 2 hours today. That's crazy. And that's because it's the first podcast. There was a lot to talk about. But thank you guys for me. What? I like the US NES better. Daybix.
Man's got class.
Right.
Nintendo. No.
But thank you guys for being here. You guys are awesome. We appreciate you all. We will see you in the next podcast next Friday here at 8:30 p.m. We'll be live here with Paul Gale Network and Joycey J, the Queen of Hyrule. I am Mike Odyssey. We'll see you. But before we let you go, we got 2 things we got to let you know. Number 1, Joycey, what is it?
Never give up.
Never
Don't
give
do
up.
that. We need you.
Don't do it. And Paul, what's number 2, Paul?
Journey on.
Journey on. The journey continues, right? Next Friday. See you guys next Friday. See you later. Bye. You can't see me because I'm frozen.
You're frozen.
I'm frozen. The camera had enough today. Bye.
Good night, guys.
Bye.
Ready.